Okay, thank you everyone for being here with us tonight. We're going to call this January 13th, 2026 study session to order. First, let's begin with the roll call. Clerk, if you'll please call the roll.
Councilmember Amy Lamb. Here. Councilmember Roshino Farrell.
Here.
Mayor Josh Amato.
Here.
Councilmember Kent Treen.
Present.
Councilmember Pamela Stewart.
Here.
Councilmember Michael Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Deputy Mayor Debbie Treen.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Up next, we'll have Councilmember Treen. Please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And Councilmember Lamb, can you please read the land acknowledgement?
We acknowledge that we are on the indigenous land of Coast Salish peoples who have reserved treaty rights to this land, specifically the Snoqualmie Indian tribe. We thank these caretakers of this land who have lived and continue to live here since time immemorial.
Thank you very much. Up next, we have the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Nope. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The motion passes. Up next, we have a proclamation for Martin Luther King Day and National Day of Service. Councilmember O'Farrell, can you please read the proclamation?
Happy to. Dr. Martin Luther King Day and National Day of Service, whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a champion of civil rights for all people who dedicated his life to the pursuit of justice, equality, and peace. And whereas since 1986, the United States has celebrated Dr. King's leadership and legacy with a national holiday and an annual day of service to recognize his vast contributions to the country. And whereas the city of Sammamish hosts its own day of service that brings together community members honoring Dr. King's legacy and working together to bring back to Sammamish community. And whereas this year many Sammamish residents will gather at Pine Lake Park to remove and mulch over noxious weeds, and the City Council appreciates these volunteer service to the community. Now, therefore, in recognition of the legacy of Dr. King and the contributions of the Sammamish community, Josh Amato, Mayor of the City of Sammamish, hereby proclaim January 19, 2026 as Dr. Martin Luther King Day in the City of Sammamish, and urge all residents to reflect on Dr. King's legacy, participate in community service activities, and work in concert towards a future where justice, equality, and peace prevail.
Thank you very much, Councilmember. Up next, we have our interviews for boards and commissions, and I want to thank all the applicants who spent all their time submitting those applications to us. Is very much appreciated. We're going to give each applicant a total of 5 minutes to tell us about themselves in a way that's germane to the position that they're seeking, and to answer the council's questions. We'll have a lot of applicants this evening, which is a great opportunity for our city. So I want to suggest that everyone answers the question succinctly in an interest of time. There'll be no follow-up questions from the council after the interviewee's response. I will call on applicants one at a time, and a council member will ask you the interview question. Applicants will be interviewed in the order in which they applied. First, those who are here in person, then online, and finally, those who submitted written responses will have their responses read aloud. And a council member, I'll ask one of you to please read any written responses. So if you think about that, please raise your hand when I bring that up. And then applicants who applied to multiple boards or commissions were asked to identify their first preference and will be interviewed under their preferred commissions first. The order will be Planning Commission first, followed by Sustainability Commission, Human Services Commission, Parks and Recreation Board, and then the Arts Commission. Give me just one moment to get my list of applicants. Oh, and I should also note that we only noticed one position for the Sustainability Commission. There's actually two, positions 3 and 4. And because only position 4 was noticed and open and advertised to the public, we are going to, let's see, open and advertise position 3 with an application closing date of 5 p.m. on February 2. Interviews for position 3 will be held at the February 10th study session meeting with the appointment scheduled for the February 17th special meeting. Any Sustainability Commission applicants not selected for their appointment this evening would be added to the applicant pool for the vacant position 3. So we're going to automatically add you, and if you would prefer not to be in that, please let us know, and we can also remove you from consideration. Okay, and I'm just going to go down do each of the council members have the questions in front of them? Okay, give us just one moment here. Do you have the list of questions handy?
It's on the list of applicants
Okay.
as well.
Thank you very much. There it is. Okay, I'm just going to go down and start with Councilmember O'Farrell, followed by Councilmember Treen, and then down the list to ask questions one at a time as they come up. If anyone has any issues with that, all good?
We're just
Okay.
going to ask the one question that's, yeah.
The one question to each person, and then Councilmember Treen will ask the next question to the next person who comes up, and we'll
Within each commission interview or for each separate commissions?
for each person
For each
within the, yes. So you'll do one question, then Councilmember Treen do the next.
Okay.
Okay, first I'd like to call up Mitali Gol. All right, if you'd like to head up to the lectern there, and then Councilmember O'Farrell will do ask you the question, and after that it will be Mazahar Punawali who'll be up next.
Good evening. Why are you interested in serving on the Planning Commission?
Hi, so my name is Mitali. Me and my family, we have lived in Sammamish on the east side for over 22 years, of which the last 13 years have been in Sammamish. Both me and my husband, we work for the local tech area companies. I have 2 kids, both of them went through local public schools, and they recently graduated from East Lake High. As a working parent and as a professional, I think in my perspective, there are a few problems that are facing Sammamish today. Some of them are growth and new development, lack of public transportation and infrastructure, and how to preserve that neighborhood feeling as the housing type and density changes are taking place. These are not abstract views. They are affecting our daily life in terms of increased commute times, school capacity, and so on. So I'm not proposing, I don't want to come in with a specific agenda. I would just want to be part of the process. I want to go over the key details and make thoughtful recommendations to the council based on how they align with the comprehensive plan. In my professional experience, I'm used to going over complex issues, weighing trade-offs and analyzing the long-term impacts. I'll be bringing the same skill set to the commission. I think the role of the Planning Commission is not to advocate for or against any individual proposals. I think the idea behind it is to evaluate each proposal objectively and weigh it against the policy currently in effect. And I hope to continue doing that. Whether we like it or not, Sammamish is evolving and it'll continue to grow, sometimes mandated by the state. But what's in our control is how we shape that growth. I want to emphasize that I do take that responsibility seriously, and I want to listen with respect and understand the varying viewpoints that are brought by the residents so that I can make well-guided recommendations to the community and the council. I think this is very important in order to make sure that the city continues to be a great place to live, not just for the current residents, but also for the future generations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, up next we have Mazahir Punawali.
So good evening, and why are you interested in serving on the Planning Commission?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. My name is Mazahir Mazi Punawala, and I'm applying to serve on the Sammamish Planning Commission. I appreciate your time and your service to our city. I have lived in Sammamish for nearly 25 years. This is where my children grew up, where my family put down roots, and where I continue to invest my future. Sammamish is not just where I live, this is my home. Professionally, I've spent over 25 years at companies like Microsoft and Amazon, working leadership role in product and program management. And I'm currently the CEO of 2 startup technology companies. Across all of these roles, my responsibility has always been the same: to understand complex problems, analyze them using facts and data, listen to different viewpoints, and help drive balanced, long-term solutions. That approach is exactly what I would bring to the Planning Commission. Like many residents, I'm aware of the challenges Sammamish faces: traffic congestion, affordability, safety, schools capacity, and managing growth while preserving the character of our city. These are not theoretical issues for me. They affect my family, my neighbors, and my community every day. I also believe that many of the challenges we face, especially traffic congestion and housing affordability, do not stop at city boundaries. Sammamish is deeply connected to neighboring cities like Redmond and Issaquah, and I believe we can achieve better outcomes by working collaboratively rather than in isolation. By coordinating planning efforts, sharing data, and pooling resources where appropriate, we can address regional transportation and housing pressures more effectively, benefit a larger number of residents, and do so without compromising the quality of life that makes Sammamish special. Thoughtful regional cooperation allows us to be proactive instead of reactive, while still preserving local control and community values. My goal on the Planning Commission would be to start with listening to residents, understanding their lived experiences, and grounding decisions in evidence rather than ideology or pressure. I strongly believe in unbiased, fact-based decision-making. When there are differences of opinion, and there always will be, I believe it is critical to be fully hear the other side. My approach is to understand their perspective, do the research, and evaluate the data. If the data shows the other side is correct, I'm absolutely willing to agree with them. If the data supports both viewpoints, then I would work toward a thoughtful compromise that respects both perspectives and delivers the greatest benefit to the community. This is not just theory for me, it is how I operate in practice. For example, during my time at a large technology company, I had a significant disagreement with senior leadership about how to fix a customer-facing problem. Leadership believed one solution was the fastest and more efficient path forward. Based on customer data and usage patterns, I believed that approach would solve a short-term metric but create long-term customer dissatisfaction. Instead of escalating the disagreement emotionally, I brought forward data that challenged the initial assumption and asked for 2 weeks to run a controlled experiment. During that time, my team implemented a small-scale solution and gathered direct customer feedback. The results were very clear. Customers told us through both qualitative feedback and measurable usage data that experimental solutions solved their problem more effectively and would reduce future issues. I brought this customer-backed data to leadership, and based on those facts, they agreed to adopt the solution long-term. That experience reinforced a core belief of mine. Good decisions come from listening, testing, and letting facts, not hierarchy, guide outcomes. In the context of the Planning Commission, the customer is a resident of Sammamish. Every planning decision should start by asking, who does this impact? And does it generally improve the quality of life of the people who live here today and in the future? I also want to candidly speak about trust. In recent years, many residents feel there has been an erosion of trust between the city and the community. Whether fully justified or not, that perception matters. Trust can be rebuilt through transparency, consistency, and authentic engagement. If appointed, I would work to ensure residents feel heard and confident that decisions are being made openly and in their best interests. Equally important to me is diversity and equity. Sammamish is a diverse city. That diversity is our strength. I believe strongly in equity for all residents and that our city should be shaped not only for privileged people. Planning decisions should affect the values and needs of the people who live here, not be disproportionately influenced by outside interests or lobbying, including from builders or developers. So why do I want to serve on the Planning Commission? Because I don't want to just point out problems. I want to be part of the solution. My children are grown, my businesses give me flexibility and an hour at a time and capacity to give back in a meaningful way. And I believe my professional experience, community involvement, and long-standing commitment to Sammamish uniquely position me to contribute constructively. I care deeply about the city, about preserving what makes it special, while responsibly planning for the future. I would be honored to serve the residents of Sammamish on the Planning Commission. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Up next, we have AJ Chakrapani, and then after that, Pooja Patil.
Hi, Ajay. Do you still need me to read the question? I can.
Yes, please.
Why are you interested in serving on the Planning Commission?
Over the last 3+ years that I've been on the commission, you have seen me here and you've seen the excitement that I come in with. Let me start with a very simple point and then I'll expand it further. The simple point is that I feel like a kid in a candy store, like in Disneyland. When I'm sitting in the Planning Commission, I get to hear a lot of the plans that the consultants bring, a lot of the concerns that the citizens bring, and to be able to take those concerns, take those plans, and put it with the Growth Management Act, as well as the 2044, the plans to the 2044 Envision Sammamish plan have not been an easy one. In 2024, when we were getting that ready, our efforts used to run way into the night. And that was a wonderful exercise in trying to understand what is it that the city needs, how can the city plan to be for 2044, and not just for 2044, but 20 years hence to see what can be done. I think that is what the Planning Commission needs to look at. That's what the Planning Commission learns about, and that is what the Planning Commission actually plans for, is to see how can we build a community, a city and a community that is ready for 2044 and at the same time can sustain itself all the way to 2064 and beyond. How do we take the growth that we are seeing, either through initiatives that the state is giving us, or through the nature of people who want to come and make Sammamish their home, and to marry it with the demands that come to it, whether it be to schools, whether it be to the parks, whether it be to housing, whether it be to transit. All of those things have to fall up into the plan that the Planning Commission does. And to have to jostle all of them together to come up with a plan is what has been the endeavor that we've had to do through the run-up to the end of 2024, when we submitted the plan, and also beyond in 2025. And I think that is the biggest thing that I have enjoyed. That's the best part of the job that I have loved. And that is something that I would love to continue to do this as we go forward. I want to get to the second point of it. And the second point is that it's never lost on me that the Planning Commission is a labor of love. We meet twice a month, but we study every day of the month. We go back and we study and come back with questions and plans that we can give to the citizens as well as to the council. And it's never lost on me that we are doing a very theoretical exercise as planning commissioners, doing a very theoretical exercise of going through the plans and going through what is needed to come up with what could be the path ahead. But there is an intangible component that is associated with it. And that intangible component falls on the city council, falls on you, the city council members, to decide to do this. And for you to be able to do that work of being able to figure out the intangibles can be done better only if we do our job better, of asking the right questions, of studying, of probing, of looking at comparative cities, looking at, and when I go and I look at whether it be Kirkland's Totem Lake or whether it be New York's Manhattan walkthrough, I'm trying to learn to see what can a city do to improve on. And as each and every city says, we are going to try and make living better, and we're going to set up more parks, and we're going to set up more activities, I start to begin to think that we already have that, and we have that as an advantage. Now, how do we make sure that that advantage is retained? The last thing I focus on is traffic. Not enough can be told about traffic. And if I had another 10 minutes, and a whiteboard, I'll draw it out for you to show you what traffic has an impact on when it comes to the people, and how we can actually put a value to it and say, this is the cost of traffic that we can do. But it's important for us to define the city and the city's plans with regard to traffic. And that has been one of the main activities that has been inspiring me to do more and more as far as the Planning Commission is concerned. Unlike the Planning Commission time when I'm sitting, I do have a timer here, and that is just expired.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Pooja Patil, and then after Manisha Nigam.
Pooja indicated that she was online, but or
Oh.
would be joining online. I don't see that they've joined yet. So I just want to confirm if Pooja's in the room. Otherwise, we can move on to Manisha online. Okay, our applicant has joined online.
Hi, Manisha. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Are you able to hear me okay?
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. So the only question we have for you, and then we'd like to hear the answer and a little bit about you and why you want to be on the commission. So why are you interested in serving on the Planning Commission?
First of all, good evening, everyone, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here. My name is Manisha Nigam. I am a Samamish resident, a resident of this beautiful city for the last 2.5 years. My background is in technology program leadership, legal studies, and real estate. I'm a licensed real estate agent in Washington State. I'm interested in serving on the Planning Commission because I care deeply about how Samamish grows. And I want to contribute in a meaningful way as the city plans for the future. Professionally, for more than 2 decades, I've worked on complex programs with diverse group of people, and often they had competing priorities. And I was the solution driver then, bridging the gap between the technical requirements and the business needs, bringing people together, understanding the different viewpoints, and helping those groups to move forward in a structured and a transparent path. My approach has been grounded in data analysis, but also balanced with empathy. Like, since I am a statistics background person, I look at data a lot. I do a lot of analysis, but I think empathy is equally important, because what data does is data tells us what is happening. But when we listen to people, what it tells us is why it matters. So these are some of a few of the skills that I hope to bring to the Planning Commission's advisory role. And as my role as a real estate professional, I meet a lot of people. I meet a lot of residents, a lot of people around Samamish, and I get to know what they're looking for. They're looking for walkable spaces. They're looking for sustainable, affordable housing, preserved green belts. This also aligns with the core strategy, which I read in the Samamish Comprehensive Plan, which has been adopted recently. And I want to leverage my understanding of the market dynamics to help the council achieve these objectives, and also help in enhancing our infrastructure and improving the quality of life of our community. In addition to this, I also hold a master's in legal studies with an emphasis on law and policy. Like, I would like to emphasize, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just a legal literate. I'm comfortable, working with complex regulations and local laws. And I see that planning commission is a bridge, and I want to help translate all these complex rules into clear, actionable recommendations for the council so that it is a smoother process of understanding and implementation. As I see currently, Samamish is going through a change at a critical junction where we are navigating important decisions related to housing, environment, infrastructure, and neighborhood character. Now, every city has to adopt, the state laws which are coming in, but how we are going to do is the big question. And this we need to do in a collaborative way. And I bring a collaborative, neutral, and a well-prepared mindset. And I genuinely desire to help Samamish in navigating through this growth process and also ensuring that we protect the essence, what makes Samamish special. So just to end, I'm here to serve thoughtfully, listen carefully, and contribute in a community-first way. And I would like to thank you all once again for your time and for considering my interest in serving the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll promote the next applicant online. Okay, the next applicant's been promoted.
Okay, thank you very much. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in serving on the Planning Commission?
Absolutely. Thank you and good evening. I'm Jennifer Cooper, a Sammamish resident, parent to 3 children in 3 different public schools here in Sammamish, a small business owner, a community builder, volunteer, and a nonprofit founder. I am invested in how our city grows and how that growth shapes people's daily lives and well-being. Professionally, I bring decades of experience in legal and contract administration, strategic operations, and cross-collaboration. I've led teams and supported leaders in making complex, high-impact decisions in high-stakes environments, balancing risk, compliance, and stakeholder needs, and turning dense information into clear, actionable choices. Those are the same kinds of skills I expect a planning commissioner would need when reviewing comprehensive plan updates, zoning and development regulations, and long-range policy options. Over the past year and a half, my profession has pivoted. I'm a first-time entrepreneur and founder, helping people transform their lives through my coaching practice and community work. This pivot has given me the chance to connect more deeply and learn more about Sammamish from the ground up, how residents experience change, what they worry about, and how important it is that city processes feel transparent, predictable, and fair. In addition to entrepreneurship, I also applied and was granted a license for TEDx Sammamish Women. Through that leadership, I partnered with other local leaders, nonprofits, local businesses, and residents to create community-centered programming that reflects the diversity, strengths, and hopes of our city. It instilled in me how hungry people are to feel connected, informed, and represented in the conversations that shape our future. Collectively, these roles have opened me up and created a desire to help Sammamish remain a place where people not only live, but feel they belong and can participate in shaping our shared future. For your core question, why am I interested in serving on the Planning Commission? First, I care about how we navigate growth. Land use, housing, transportation, and environmental decisions are not abstract. They show up as whether families can afford to stay here, how kids can safely get to school, and whether people feel a sense of connection and belonging. Sammamish is at a real inflection point as we implement our comprehensive plan and respond to state and regional requirements, and there are no perfect answers. What I bring is a willingness to sit with complexity, to look honestly at trade-offs, and to help the city look for paths that balance the needs and values here. Second, I am drawn to the Commission's advisory role. The Commission exists to provide the City Council with well-considered recommendations on growth management, land use policies, and development regulations. My background has prepared me to operate in that advisory space. I am comfortable with ambiguity, taking action, asking questions, and offering options. I see the Commission as a bridge between technical planning work, council priorities, and community understanding. And that is where my communication strengths as a coach, business owner, and community organizer can be useful. Third, I bring a collaborative, curiosity-driven approach. In past roles, whether working with executives, coordinating across departments, or leading large community groups, I have learned to treat disagreement as a cue to listen closely, clarify assumptions, and return to shared goals. On the Planning Commission, that would mean listening carefully, grounding conversations in data and policy, and making recommendations rooted in the city's values, while being honest about the constraints. I also want to be straightforward. No, I do not have an engineering pedigree or a traditional technical planning background. Instead, I bring a deep passion for our city, a strong learning mindset, and a track record of taking on complex work where my main credentials at the start were curiosity, discipline, and a commitment to contribute meaningfully. Over and over, I have shown that I can learn quickly, do the homework, and deliver in environments where expectations are high and the learning curve is steep. If appointed, that is how I would approach Planning Commission service. My goal would not be to be the most technical person on the commission, but to be a thoughtful, prepared, and curious commissioner who helps bridge complex material and community values. In closing, I want to help ensure that the choices we make today support our city for decades to come. I would be humbled and honored to contribute my unique perspective to your work. Thank you for considering me.
Thank you very much. Up next, we have a written response from Parachart John Wachiarchai that Deputy Mayor Treen will read for us.
Thank you. Her statement of interest and relevant experience. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Thank you for the opportunity to consider my application for the Sammamish Planning Commission. Due to previously scheduled business travel, I'm unable to attend the interview in person or via Zoom and appreciate the opportunity to submit a written response for your consideration. Professionally, I have worked for nearly 20 years as a public sector financial and policy analyst. In my current role as a senior financial and budget analyst with the King County Library System, I support long-range financial forecasting, policy evaluation, and collaborative decision-making within a public governance setting. Her question, why are you interested in serving on the Planning Commission? I'm interested in serving on the Planning Commission because of its important advisory role in helping the City Council make informed decisions related to land use policy, development regulations, and long-range planning. These decisions shape housing, transportation, environmental protection, and neighborhood character, and I believe they should be approached thoughtfully, transparently, and with a long-term perspective. I've reviewed the Envision Sammamish 2044 Comprehensive Plan, and I'm interested in supporting its careful and balanced implementation. I'm motivated to contribute to planning discussions that align growth with environmental stewardship, community values, and the city's long-term vision. I would approach this role with professionalism, respect for differing viewpoints, and a strong focus on the public interest. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And then
We did
receive-
just receive the last
Okay.
applicant's written response.
Excellent. Okay, so Councilmember Boyer will read Hussein Aslam's written response to us.
Very good. I have been living in the city for over 3 years and love it. Recently, I have seen quite a lot of polarizing debates on new development where people either want to go all in or oppose anything new. I think there should be a balanced approach which unites our citizens and addresses their concerns while ensuring that our city continues to build and grow. I would love to gain the trust of our neighbors and help us to continue to be one of the best cities in the country. I've been managing products with big tech for over a decade and have been solving problems through creativity or creatively designed solutions. I have an MBA in organizational strategy and finance that have helped me during this time to build immense value through efficiency, automation, and improved processes. I would like to take these learnings to have a user, parenthetically, our residents, centric approach to how we improve development in our city, plan based on outcomes and impacts for the residents, and ensure that our infrastructure is ready for growth before we grow. I've been traveling and on the other side of the planet at the moment. I apologize for not making it to the session. Best regards, Hussein.
Thank you very much. Okay, and that is it for our Planning Commission applicants. Up next will be voting, and in front of each council member is a tally sheet with the names of each applicant. There are 2 positions open tonight for the Planning Commission. If council members could please mark the ballots. Because there are 2 positions open, we'll be voting twice. Then the clerk will collect the ballots, do a tally, and display the results on the screen. So we'll take a moment to vote now. And while the votes are happening, I just want to again thank all the Planning Commission applicants for the time and effort you took to apply tonight. This is not an easy process up here as we're voting, but I know it was absolutely not an easy process as you thought through the answer and took time to apply and then come and speak in front of us tonight. So I just want to express our appreciation very much for that. So thank you again.
Okay, the winners are highlighted on the screen.
Okay, so for we will have, let's see, the position numbers are, my tally sheet is gone. Is it
Position 4.
position?
Sorry, I'm reading wrong.
Position 6 and 7.
Thank you. For position 6, we will have Mazahir Punawali, and then position 7, AJ Chakrapani. So thank you very much. I did not mention this at the start. At our next council meeting, we'll be voting officially to appoint you to the positions. Okay, up next, we have our Sustainability Commission positions, and in this one, we are just interviewing for position 4. So starting again with Councilmember O'Farrell with reading the question, we'll start off with Dipali Parab, followed by Mitali Gol. So Councilmember O'Farrell.
Good evening. What topics would you like to see the Sustainability Commission work on during your tenure if you are appointed?
My name is Dipali, and I'm resident of Sammamish since 2019. I'm married, I have 2 children. Currently, I work as a senior product manager at Amazon with overall experience of 25 years in technology and business transformation. I feel I'm truly blessed to live in Sammamish. Uh, I thank City of Sammamish and the prior generations that have made Sammamish into a beautiful city that we live in today. Interestingly, I moved to Sammamish the same year when it was ranked as one of the top city to live in for clean water, air, and safety as well. These are some of the rare attributes in the world that we live today. It's very rare to see these. Our air is crisp and clean. Our lakes sparkle under the sun. Our landscape are beautiful with so many native plants and trees. Our children ride their bikes in towering shade of trees that have stood for decades. Honestly, I'm inspired by our city's inclination to preserve nature, and I want to contribute and collaborate in a meaningful way with our city and its residents to retain the natural environment in Sammamish so that our future generations also inherit it in the same way we all have inherited it. Let me share the key areas where Sammamish is leading the way, which is very inspiring and I have experienced it firsthand. First is urban forest management. Our trees uh, are more than just beautiful. They are contributing overall to make Washington as one of the green state. In fact, in the recent survey, Washington is one of the greenest and cleanest state with clean air. So it is only number 2 states in throughout US stood out in that, and we all should feel very proud about it. So through our city, through the urban forest management plan, we are protecting our existing trees, planting new ones, and ensuring our green canopy thrives for generations. Second is the community engagement and education. So I've frequently seen the flyers that we get from the city on how we can maintain clean water table, and through workshops, volunteer tree planting events. I recently was part of where we collected, big maple seeds and then planted some of the saplings. So that was very inspiring. Whether it is composting, reducing waste, uh, conserving water, every small step that our city has taken has added up to where we stand today in terms of sustainability. And I want to continue to contribute towards that, but also get my skills if I'm appointed in the commission. So how my skills will be relevant here? I have led a few sustainability initiatives in the past where I was part of a lake restoration project in Bangalore, India. And last year, I wrote a white paper on a technology on how we can use the space data to prevent forest fires through proactive monitoring and using IoT devices to early detect forest fires and then taking preventive actions. That white paper has been submitted to our climate pledge team, and it is still under review. And most recently, I'm working on an initiative which is to extend the useful life of products and assets at Amazon. So how we want to do is by reusing the assets across different fulfillment centers, recycling, and most importantly, usually useful life is typically a finance and accounting requirement, but most of these products can continue to be used. So I'm working on a model where we can extend the useful life, and that in turn contributes to circular economy and reducing our carbon footprint. I'm also formally studying life cycle assessment at MIT. So one of the, am I over time? I'm sorry. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. For applicants who submitted in 2 locations, were we interviewing them twice or just one time? I might have made a little error there.
Twice because the question is different.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. So what topics would you like to see the Sustainability Commission work on during your tenure if you're appointed?
Yeah. So let me skip introducing myself since I'm here the second time and directly answer the question. So I think we should take a two-pronged approach. One is to educate and incentivize residents to follow practical ideas. And the second is to pair individual actions with long-term city planning. So one of these areas is transportation. Now, the city is very car dependent. It's hard to go from one end to the other without a car. And because it's spread out, it's hilly, and that is not something we can change. So it's difficult to eliminate cars, but we can reduce short trips. This can be done maybe by introducing on-demand shuttles or neighborhood connectors that go from neighborhoods to schools, shopping centers, libraries, and so on. The other area is homes and rooftops. So there's a roofscape registry, which is a map of roofs that have sustainable features. It's used to track and encourage things like solar panels, green rooftops, and other eco-friendly installations. So it can be used to track progress citywide, and residents can see potential of their own homes. The city can also encourage and incentivize developers to follow energy saving strategies like energy efficient appliances, heat pumps, solar ready roofs, better insulation. And doing this upfront is cheaper than retrofitting a home later after the fact. And this will help new homes start off more sustainable. Third thing is waste reduction. Um, I know city has already been addressing issues of composting, recycling, reuse. We have a recycling event by the city every quarter that I participate in. But we can also think about having neighborhood compost stations, repair cafes, and tool libraries. This makes sustainable choices feel easy and not intimidating. The next is education and incentivization of individual residents. By encouraging them to opt for sustainable features in their homes. This will not only lower emissions, but will also lower the utility bills, and comfort and savings make adoption easier. In closing, individual actions paired with city programs will help us achieve a more sustainable future, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Brooke Hansen, followed by Stephanie Villea.
Good evening. My name is Brooke Hansen. I am currently working in digital transformation for Boeing. Essentially, what I do is try to get people to change how they do things. I have an experience in program management, marketing, and communications. And of course, there's change management that goes with all of those things across auto, telecom, media, and aviation sectors, among others. So I came here in 2020, right in the first week of the pandemic, and I arrived from Europe, from Munich, after 20 years of living there in the Netherlands and in Germany. And when I was there, I observed a whole lot of ideas that related to sustainability. Some of those were grants for using fully renewable materials, systems to improve public transportation adoption, enabling schools to accept bike and pedestrian traffic, and also extensive bike and pedestrian infrastructure. For example, big bike parking garages. Okay, that's not something we need here yet, but it's part of the story. Further uptake of heat pumps to reduce dependence on fossil fuels. So I spent a year on this commission, and I understand the scope of the work and basically how the work of the commission influences policy. So I would like to help develop these ideas and use my marketing and change background to bring them to the community. Generally, so in summary, what I'd like to see is making it easier for people to do the right thing. So stronger initiatives from the local government to help people change towards renewables. That is my statement for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Stephanie Valea and then a written response that I'll read.
Hi, Stephanie. What topics would you like to see the Sustainability Commission work on during your tenure if you are appointed?
Thank you, Councilmember Stewart. Good afternoon, Sammamish City Council. My name is Stephanie Valea, and after years of watching the work of the Sammamish Sustainability Commission and the city overall, I am here today to tell you my vision for the future of sustainability in Sammamish. One of my favorite quotes is by Margaret Mead, and it reads, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." To me, the Sammamish Sustainability Commission is the small group of thoughtful, committed citizens that has the power to change Sammamish. As an environmental science student at the University of Washington, sustainability is incredibly near and dear to my heart. My classes amaze me, bringing me closer to the environment and wildlife every single day. Nature has always been my safe space, and sustainability is essential to protecting it. Working with the sustainability ambassadors, I became familiar with Sammamish's climate action plan and immediately began contemplating how we can reach its goals. I led several carbon commute counts, a carpool to school day, and a litter pickup event at my high school. Later, when the ambassadors signed a contract with the city, I was fortunate to participate in a Sustainability Commission meeting. When helping with the sustainability booth at Sammamish Farmers Markets, I also met our wonderful sustainability coordinator, Rose, and all of the kind, dedicated commissioners. Beyond my work with the ambassadors, I'm involved as a phone banking coordinator and Save Our Orcas campaign member for the Washington Public Interest Research Group, where I've enhanced my organizational abilities. I've also learned more about effective collaboration from serving on the board of the Student-Led Chess Association. Finally, volunteering at the animal shelter every weekend has sparked my love for community service and inspired me to create my own startup, instilling in me proactivity, empathy, and interpersonal skills. The Commission has already set ambitious goals, such as reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 50% by 2030. Let's unpack the big question here. How do we reach them? One area where the Commission can have a huge impact is policy and city planning. While education and outreach are critical, sustainability must also be embedded in our development decisions, transportation plans, and city operations. Every decision carries sustainability implications. I would advocate for the Commission to take an active role in ensuring that the Climate Action Plan goals are reflected not just in awareness campaigns, but in the very code and structure of our city. Transportation is a key example. I would like to see the Commission become more engaged with the Transportation Master Plan, advocating for protected bike lanes, walkable trails, and safer crossings. I have noticed where the city lacks sidewalks, like on 218th Avenue Southeast leading down to Big Rock Park. If we want to reduce car dependency, we will need to improve city infrastructure, and the Sustainability Commission can and should be a part of making this a reality. When residents can easily walk or bike, sustainability becomes part of everyday life rather than an abstract idea. Biodiversity and wildlife protection are equally critical. Sustainability isn't just about installing LEDs or incentivizing heat pumps. Sustainability is about what is out there, the pristine trees and wetland ecosystems that define the character of Sammamish. That is why I would work to bring wildlife corridors and habitat preservation into the Commission's priorities, ensuring that our city supports people, our wild neighbors, and the natural world we all depend on. I also see a lot of potential in expanding community access to resources. Programs like tool libraries, repair events, and funding for sustainability projects empower residents to take action in meaningful ways. They strengthen community engagement and create a culture of environmental responsibility, not just within City Hall, but also in residents' homes and personal lives. Finally, tracking and reporting progress is essential. Regular updates, clear data, and transparent reporting will help the community understand how the city is progressing and motivate continued participation in sustainability efforts. More than ever, the Sammamish Sustainability Commission needs innovative ideas. One specific idea I would love to initiate on the Commission is a native plant seed distribution program. Recently, I've been finding a lot of fulfillment from growing a native plant and vegetable garden in my backyard. I want to bring the same joy to residents with planting kits, guides, and seeds to help them start their own gardens. I believe this would make a beautiful difference. If appointed to the Sustainability Commission, I would bring fresh perspectives, an open mind, excellent listening skills, and a constant drive for progress. The areas I believe I can contribute the most are connecting policy with action, promoting safe and sustainable transportation, protecting biodiversity, increasing access to resources, and helping the community see measurable progress towards our goals. I care deeply about Sammamish, and serving on the Sustainability Commission would be an incredible honor. As Margaret Mead phrased it, this small group of thoughtful, committed citizens will make a difference, and there will be nothing more meaningful than the chance to help the idea of a sustainable Sammamish come to life. If it is all right for me to pass them out, I brought some marigold seeds for each of you as a small symbol of the kind of growth and care sustainability requires. Thank you so much for your time and for listening to me today.
Thank you very much for that. But if you could please give them to the city clerk, that would be appreciated.
Thank you, Mayor Mata.
Up next, I will read Prajakta Gatpandi's written response that we received. Hello, council members. I want to apologize for not being able to attend the meeting today. My qualifications are listed in my resume and cover letter. In addition to that, I would like to mention that I am a longtime resident of Sammamish, an environmental engineer, and a passionate volunteer for sustainable community. I recently completed a Sustainability Strategies for Business program by Stanford School of Business, and I have several ideas to implement for sustainable living. And then to answer the question, they wrote, I understand the Commission already has a climate action plan in place, including core elements such as a greenhouse gas accounting. However, I am not sure whether the following two priorities are currently on the Commission's radar. I would like to see both elevated during my tenure. First one is emergency preparedness for weather-related events. The frequency and severity of extreme weather events, such as bomb cyclones, flooding, and windstorms, have increased significantly. During last year's bomb cyclone, our household lost power for 5 or 6 days. As a city, we need stronger preparedness measures, which may require additional planning, infrastructure investments, and policy updates. The second that they wrote is assessment of future electricity demand and grid stability. With the rising adoption of electric vehicles and other clean energy initiatives, electricity demand is growing rapidly. Puget Sound Energy remains the primary provider in our area, and it is unclear whether current infrastructure can support the city's future needs. A formal evaluation of energy provider capacity and options to strengthen grid reliability should be a priority for the city. Let me know if you need any additional information. Thank you for your consideration. Okay, and that is the end of our applicants for the Sustainability Commission. We are appointing one position tonight, position 4. And let me get the paper to make sure I have this correct. Positions 3 will be opened up for further applicants. Anyone who does not get the application, get the position tonight will be automatically entered into that, and you can withdraw if you'd like. The closing date will be 5 p.m. on February 2nd. So, council members, you have your ballot in front of you. If you could please select one person for position 4. Okay, congratulations, Stephanie, for your appointment to position 4. Up next, we will be doing interviews for the Human Services Commission, position number 7. Deputy Mayor Treen will be reading the question up next. And first, we have Jisha Govin, followed by Jennifer Cooper online.
Hello, Jisha.
Hi.
Are there any gaps in programs or policies related to the work of the Human Services Commission that you would like to help the city address? Please explain.
Thank you, Debbie. Good evening, council members, city staff, and my fellow Sammamish residents. My name is Jisha Govin, and I have been a Sammamish resident for the past 10 years. I live here with my family, my husband and 2 teens. My kids have grown up in Sammamish, and professionally, I have a background in software engineering and product development. I applied to serve on the Human Services Commission because I care deeply about this community and want to contribute in a meaningful way to make this city a much better place. Over the years, I volunteered with several organizations focused on helping people in need, and that is how I have developed my views on community support. Through my conversations with the city's community services coordinator and one of the current commissioners, I have gained a better understanding of the commission and its role and impact. And the more I learned, the more I felt that this role aligns perfectly with my values and my strengths. As part of my preparation, I spent some time reading the Burke report, and honestly, it was eye-opening. Sammamish is often seen as a well-resourced city, but the data shows that many residents still face challenges that are not surfaced. They are well hidden within the sheen of our city. If given an opportunity, these are some of the gaps that I would like to address. The first is most of our programs are reactive rather than proactive. One of the data points that really stood out to me in the Burke report is that 20% of our teens have thought about suicide at some point. And that really stood out to me. How do we get to a point where we get to our teens before they reach that crisis point? So if one of the things that I would like to help the city do is focus on that prevention. Can we have early intervention? Can we work with institutions that can help get to our teens before they reach that point of crisis? Similarly, our seniors, I have spoken to a few seniors who have said they feel isolated, they feel disconnected, but they didn't get there all of a sudden. It was a gradual transition. Can we help our seniors stay more engaged and more connected with our community so they don't reach that point where they feel completely isolated? That would be the first gap. The second that I feel is the lack of a permanent accessible community space where residents can gather and connect without barriers. One example that I would like for Sammamish to emulate would be the garage in Issaquah. My own child has benefited from going there. It's a space where they can be themselves, they can connect with their friends. There's no pressure to buy anything, there's no time limit. Nobody's rushing them out because they have to make space for other customers. I would love to see a similar space for our teens in Sammamish. Similarly, for our seniors, I would love to see a senior center where seniors can come and just meet and talk to others, not something that is structured where there's a scheduled programming. Not all seniors want that. Sometimes seniors just need a space to just meet and chat. So I would love to see that accessible space for our teenagers and our seniors. Second, I think I would like to build programs where our community comes together. Right now, a lot of residents, people I've spoken to, think of Sammamish as a place to live and send their kids to good schools, but they don't feel a connection to the larger community. I feel having programs that bring our residents together and build connections with our community is very important. And that connection also would help with some of the issues we are seeing with mental health, with access to support systems. I think that would be something that we should definitely work towards. As a commissioner, I would be interested in supporting initiatives that bring people together in low pressure, inclusive ways. This could include intergenerational programs, culturally inclusive events, or partnership with nonprofits that already have strong ties within our communities. I believe the Commission can play a key role in identifying gaps leveraging partnerships, and recommending investments that strengthen local connections across the city. Overall, what do I bring to the table? I am a data-driven thinker, and I have a passion for community engagement, and I have lived experience both as a parent and a resident here in Sammamish. I would like to focus on understanding problems first through listening, asking questions, and then focusing on practical solutions that are inclusive and sustainable. I would be honored to serve on the Human Services Commission and contribute to making Sammamish a community where everyone feels supported, connected, and valued. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Up next, we have Jennifer Cooper.
I'm promoting her now.
Thank you.
Okay, Jennifer's been promoted.
Hi, Jennifer. Welcome back. And are there any gaps in programs or policies related to the work of the Human Services Commission that you would like to help the city address? And if so, please explain.
Great, thank you. Thank you again for the opportunity to interview this evening. So, like I mentioned, I'm Jennifer Cooper, Sammamish resident, parent to 3 school-age children in our public schools. I'm rooted here and in how our city shapes people's daily lives and well-being. Professionally, I bring over 20 years of experience in legal and contract administration, operations, and collaboration. And alongside that corporate work, I spent many years volunteering and continue to do so today with organizations such as the Seattle Clemency Project, Northwest Immigration Rights Project, Kids in Need of Defense, known by the acronym KIND, and other immigration and other, human services related organizations, such as helping DACA recipients and refugees seeking asylum. And collectively, these experiences have shown me up close the realities faced by people navigating legal, economic, and social vulnerability. So together, this blend of professional and pro bono experience has really trained me to listen with humility, empathy, understand complex systems, and advocate for policies and programs that better support those who are most often affected and least heard. Over the past year and a half, my profession has pivoted, and it's given me the chance to connect more deeply and learn more about Sammamish from the ground up, how residents experience change, what they worry about, and how important it is that the city processes feel transparent, predictable, and fair. Collectively, this has opened me up and created a desire to help Sammamish remain a place where people not only live, but feel they belong and can participate collectively in our shared future. As to your core question, are there gaps in programs or policies related to the work of the Human Services Commission that I would like to help the city address? So certainly, at a very core foundational level, I believe there are gaps in how residents can understand and navigate available services. So while the city's website lists many services available in the broader region, I believe we have room to improve in terms of sharing more applicable information to navigate situations comprehensively. Along with that, I see gaps in publicly available reporting on how effective these services are. For example, do we have data on the success of former grant contributions? Is there a current plan to show accountability for the almost 700,000 in human services grants for 25-26? What nonprofits exist here in our city that we can work more closely with and support? I think being thoughtfully transparent and making information more readily and publicly accessible is important to building trust. Second, a level up from that is how our community supports belonging in ongoing social isolation, especially for people who may not show up in traditional human services data, but are still struggling. While there is a program at Beaver Lake Lodge for elders, I do believe there is a need in our community to generally address social isolation. I hear regularly from people around who are not necessarily in crisis or not yet, but are lonely, are burned out, or they feel isolated and alone in this community. I would like to help the city and its partners think about human services not only as crisis response, but also as upstream investments in connection, mental health, and resilience, particularly low barrier community spaces where community can more easily gather together. A third level up is much more serious and harder to talk about. So that's teen mental health and suicide. I believe we have a crisis brewing in our city. Eastlake High School students have had 2 fellow students take their lives in just 4 months' time. I am greatly interested in exploring what and how the city can do to support teens, families, and community members with these challenging topics. To summarize, I would like to help the city deepen its use of community-informed data and lived experience so that funding recommendations and policy advice reflect both quantitative data and the realities people are experiencing. If appointed, I would bring a collaborative, curiosity-driven approach to this work. I would do the homework, ask the questions, and work toward consensus recommendations that are transparent about trade-offs and aligned with Council's priorities. I would like to serve on the Human Services Commission to help ensure that Sammamish's investments in people are as thoughtful and strategic as its investments in infrastructure. I would be humbled and honored to contribute my unique perspective to your work. Thank you for considering me.
Thank you very much. Okay, council members have their ballots in front of them. If they could please vote for one individual. Congratulations, G. Shagovan, for your appointment to position 7. Up next, we'll hear from applicants for the Parks and Recreation Commission. Councilmember Boyer will be leading off the questions. It'll start with Anna Yorba, followed by Henry Klein.
Good evening, Ms. Yorba. A question for you. Are there any gaps in programs or policies related to the work of the Parks and Recreation Commission that you would like to help the city address?
Well, good evening, council members. I'm glad to be here. My name is Anna Yorba. I have been on the Parks Commission for the last 2 years, and I would very much like to continue my activities with them. I think it's a really valuable part of the city. My background is in landscape architecture. I'm a retired landscape architect, and also I've worked in staff planner for county planning department in my previous home. So that design work along with planning work, I think really fits in with the goals of the Parks Commission. One of my highest priorities is acquiring new parkland wherever possible, both for recreation and protection of valuable natural habitat. And that ties in with my wish for better connectivity and walkability throughout the plateau. I'd like to see citywide planning for a unified trail system. Running, walking, and jogging are the most popular activities in our parks, and trails are the most cost-effective improvements we can make in our undeveloped parkland. As we develop the parklands we have, we need to be fiscally responsible in considering the scope of work while planning for possible future budget deficits. And that's a very real situation that, our park plans are planned for many years in advance, and we need to be realistic about our budgeting. I also think I would like to be more informed about the possible consequences of a metropolitan park district. That's a subject that will be coming up in the future. I think we need to work more to implement the urban forestry management plan. I also want to make use of the current revision of the town center plan. The old plan has been somewhat deficient in producing the direction to carry out plans for a town plaza, the green spine, as well as protecting key wetlands, stream corridors, and buffers for use in connection with the unified trail system. And I think the Parks Commission and the Parks Department can be very instrumental in directing that facilities for future connectivity, green spaces, and wildlife habitat. Also, I think we can be much more active in promoting volunteer support systems. We have a huge pool of volunteers. I've been volunteering in the parks for the last 10 years. And I know there's a lot of people that would like to volunteer in the parks that don't quite know how to go about it. In the past, we've had interns that, serve to direct volunteer programs, and that internship program has been cut back. I'd like to see that restored. Another big source of volunteer workers that I think is maybe not being utilized to the most is our Sammamish Botanical Garden Society, who would like to establish a botanical garden in Sammamish. And that's another huge pool of volunteer workers that are willing to support a botanical garden, do public education, and contribute greatly to our quality of life. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Up next, we have Henry Klein, followed by Pete Van Loon.
Is it my turn?
Hi, Hank. Are there any gaps in the programs or policies related to the works of the Parks and Recreations Commission that you would like to help the city address? Please explain.
Good evening and thank you. My name is Hank Klein. I've been a resident in Sammamish for 38 years. I care deeply about our community and would like to see it continue to maintain its current parks and recreation facilities while meeting the needs and interests of its residents. I've served on the Parks Commission for nearly all of the past 20 plus years. For many of those years, I've served as the chair of the commission. I'm currently its deputy chair. I've worked directly with 4 parks directors, including Jeff Watling, Jesse Bond, Angie Fesser, and now Angela Meyer. During my tenure on the Parks Commission, I've worked cooperatively with fellow commissioners and city's park staff to develop and implement improvements to our recreational facilities. I work directly with park staff and consultants on improvements to ball fields at Eastlake High School, Skyline High School, and Inglewood Middle School, providing insights and suggestions as a longtime and avid athlete and coach. Additionally, I served on the committee to encourage our citizens to vote in favor of the development and construction of the current YMCA Sammamish Community Center. I've helped build trails within the city limits with the Washington Trails Association. I'm a volunteer driver for Metro's community van program, and I collect trail counter data for the Sammamish Park Department. I've been an elementary teacher in the Issaquah School District for 30 years, and I currently work part-time in 2 plateau schools, Sunny Hills and Endeavor. I support the community's interest in developing more trails and bikeways. I've had an idea for a long time that presents an incredible opportunity to create a central north-south trail through the heart of Sammamish. The gas pipeline easement already has a trail through much of its length, starting in North Sammamish and soon connecting Evans Creek Preserve, all the way south to Northeast 8th Street, and then again from Southeast 1st to Southeast 15th. There's a gap of about 1,100 feet in length behind Eastlake High School that is a wetland. That makes it difficult, but not impossible, to connect the north and south sections. The creative solution is a floating boardwalk. It's not as difficult as it may seem. The city of Mill Creek in Snohomish County has already constructed a floating boardwalk at its North Creek Park and Water Retention Facility. Even more intriguing is the fact that former Sammamish Parks Director Kevin Teague was a key contributor to that project and could certainly provide insight and guidance here in Sammamish. If we were able to do this, the easement would then accommodate a nearly 3-mile trail. Additional improvements to the south would be ideal and could connect to the trail along the power line and easement through Beaver Lake Park and all the way south to the Issaquah Falls City Road, a total of over 5 miles. Additionally, I'm aware that a group of Sammamish residents is keenly interested in developing significant opportunities for the city-owned 120 building, including a teen center, senior center, performing arts and cultural venue, recreational and event spaces, business hub and meeting facilities, and more. I think it would be prudent for the city to formally solicit ideas from the general public for this space and use the services of a consultant to determine the feasibility of implementing these ideas. So what lies ahead for the city's Parks and Recreation Division? The current and ongoing PROS plan, the Parks, Recreation, Open Space Plan, is an excellent tool to seek and plan for the implementation of the interests and needs of our citizens. Regular polling of our residents provides insights for improvements. Our citizens have regularly expressed positive sentiments about the parks and recreation facilities in Sammamish, as well as a keen interest in acquiring and preserving open spaces. Currently, we have master plans for improvements to several parks, including Klahani, Beaton Hill, and Big Rock Park South, but neither the funding nor adequate staffing to implement their development. I believe the city should investigate the possibility of establishing a metropolitan park district to address these needs. A consultant could provide valuable insights, as well as park officials with direct experience, such as Jesse Bond, former Parks Director in Sammamish, and North Bend that does have an MPD. In closing, while I may have served for a long time on the Sammamish Parks and Recreation Commission, you can still see that I still have new ideas and a strong interest in our community. I would love the opportunity to continue my service. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Up next, we have Pete Van Loon, and then online we'll have Todd Betcherer.
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity. So as mentioned, I'm Pete Van Loon. I'm a 5-year resident of Sammamish. I live in Southwest Sammamish with my family. I have a 6th grader and a 3rd grader. I've learned a lot about our parks and recreation through my family, my wife's work as a middle school teacher as well. My passion as a runner and a hiker. My work is focused on cybersecurity, risk, and data privacy at Google as well. I'm a Seattle real estate investor. I've managed a lot of diverse construction projects through that. Now, to directly address the prompt, I really see 2 primary gaps. The first is a lack of robust planning for all ages. My wife and I moved from Illinois. When I came here, we saw that there are park districts there that offered quite a bit for different ages, for different groups, for diverse communities. It was great. There was a lot that we could do within the community, connections we could build. We were able to really connect more so with some of those towns. I see some opportunities here to do more within arts, sports, nature, camps. I really like to look into what we can expand upon. The second, we have a lot of parks, but as I've seen through a lot of running, hiking through them, they aren't significantly used in many areas. So for example, Big Rock or Ebury or even Sammamish Commons, beautiful areas. It's outstanding that we have them here. I love that we have them, but I think we could do a lot more. I work within Kirkland. I work right next to the Ferreton Spur Park. I look out on it, during my day job, and they've done an outstanding job of connecting trails in there, drawing diverse communities to sports parks, whether it's paddleball or pickleball or beach volleyball or They have hockey and basketball courts. They have a nice playground there. They have nice areas where people could sit out. Unless the weather's really poor, they have a really great diverse group that's always there. I'd like to see what we could do here. I'd like to see how we can enhance our anchor parks, as I think we could call them. And then, yeah, harkening back to a passion of mine, I'm a runner, I'm a hiker. One item I'd really like to look into in particular would be our trail system here. I'd really like to look at connectivity, coverage, what we could really do better, look at it holistically. I think we have some opportunities, and that would be a passion project of mine in this role. In summary, I think Sammamish is at a unique moment with many unique opportunities to improve its parks and recreation. I'm really excited about projects like Big Rock and Beaton Hill. I think that there could be a really nice, park there. Building 120, I think that there's so much we could do. We could really have a nice recreational space for all ages, all groups with that building. Trails in particular, I really like to focus in on our trails through this work. I'd like to support the city to make these enhancements and make our community healthier and happier. Thank you.
Thank you. And then online we'll have Todd Betcherer, followed by Mega Call.
Okay, Todd's been promoted.
Hi, Todd. Are you with us? Todd, if you're speaking, you're on mute. Okay. Sorry, Todd, you're still muted there. Then Councilmember Lamb will read the question to you.
Hi, Todd. You still appear muted.
How's that?
Yep, we can hear you. Hello, and can you please tell us a little bit about yourself? And are there any gaps in programs or policies related to the work of the Parks and Recreation Commission that you would like to help the city address? And please explain.
My wife and I have lived on the plateau now for 36 years, and we raised two very active daughters during that time frame. We've probably gone to every playground, beach, ball field, tennis court, basketball court, swimming pool, community building on the plateau. And I applaud the Parks and Recreation Department on their development and maintenance of what I would refer to as active use facilities. They've done an outstanding job during those past 36 years. However, addressing tonight's question, I haven't seen the same effort put into what is consistently the top priority for residents here in Sammamish, which are running, biking, walking trails, the interconnectivity of those trails, and passive spaces for enjoyment, for de-stressing, for just relaxation. So if I were to receive a placement on this panel, that would be my priority. In that lens, 5 years ago, I brought to the attention of the council at that time and to the director, Kevin Teague, the possibility of connecting the Williams Pipeline Trail to the Evans Creek Preserve. That was something that was on the original PROS, but never seemed to have any headwind. So I sent several emails. I spoke to members directly. Kevin put me in contact with John Chalfant, the project manager at that time. I took him out to the site. We walked the geography. I showed him the potential. And fast forward to today, the first half of that segment is completed. I encourage all council members to go out there and take a walk on it. It's a beautiful trail. The second half is due to be completed either later this year or early next year, but it encapsulates perfectly what I would intend to work on at my time in this role, which is the addition of trails, the interconnectivity of those trails, as well as a peaceful, beautiful natural setting that drew us to this town initially. I think all of us want to enjoy those places, and they're becoming harder and harder to find. So I encourage the council and the rec department to pursue those as vehemently as they have on the active use ball fields and other facilities over the years. And I'd like to share with you some other ideas I have. Some other people previous to me have already mentioned the Williams Pipeline Trail. It's a gem. It should be completed. The PSC transmission corridor is also a similar parallel connector that could interconnect many of the trails, including the Emerald Necklace that the Friends of Sammamish have spoken about for years and continues to grow. There's a property just north of the Sammamish Landing Park, beach park on the lake, that's been closed off to residents for at least 15 years that I'm aware of. I'm not sure why. It's been fenced and has gates. It's owned by the city, and it would be a perfect passive use park, gaining access for swimming and enjoyment, passive use, again, just walking, etc. I'm not sure why we're holding that piece of property and not using it. The other options that I can see would be connecting trails from the plateau top down to the Sammamish Lake Trail. We have corridors now that are running on busy thoroughfares, and there are other opportunities, I believe, in connecting passive use or quieter paths down to the lake, which many of our residents, I think, need and have looked for years and years now. Before Kevin left, he suggested that I apply for this position. Unfortunately, at that time, I was still employed. I'm now retired, so I can devote myself fully to this work. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Mega Call.
Mega's been promoted.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, everyone. I'm Megha Kaul. I've been a resident of Sammamish for past 7 years. I'm a mother of 2 young children, 3 and 9-year-old, and I feel deeply connected to our community. My family and I are frequent users of our parks, trails, and recreation programs, and have a genuine appreciation for all the resources our cities have provided. So thank you for that. This personal connection motivates me to contribute meaningfully to the continued growth and improvement of our parks and recreational spaces. Professionally, I work as a technical program manager at Oracle and bring more than 16 years of experience in IT industry across a variety of roles. My background has equipped me with the strong skills in project management, cross-functional collaboration, strategic planning, problem solving in compliance frameworks, and audits for commercial and US Gov programs. I believe these strengths translate well into responsibilities of Parks and Recreation Commission, particularly in areas involving long-term planning, community engagement, and the thoughtful use of the public resources. I am a strong believer of implementing the diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. I have been involved in a lot of organizations like Leaning Seattle, Women in Cloud, and Girl Scout, and TEDx Youth, which we had an event where there was a youth representations from all the cultures, and kids share their unique, diverse experiences. And I also as a co-group leader in Sammamish Girl Scout, where we helped create and celebrated different cultures and encourage empathy and ensured every girl, regardless of background or ability, was welcomed and valued. Through my professional and personal life, I've really followed the motto of unbiasedness. In disagreement situations, I try to understand the facts and try to provide a data-driven solutions. My approach is always to listen and understand all aspects of the topics and collect all the points and concerns and provide a solution-based approach. To the core question we have today, that are there any gaps in the programs and policies? In my opinion, Sammamish has a strong foundation of parks and recreation offering, but there are few areas which in my personal observation, I feel we can enhance the community experiences. The first one is totally out of being a mom and of young kids, which is that when you raise kids in this gloomy, rainy winter months, you feel there's a need for more covered and weather protected play area so that family can stay active year round. Similarly, expanding nature walks, guided trail programs, and open community exercise activities would encourage a healthier and more active lifestyle for all the residents of the ages. There's also an opportunity to provide more educational information throughout our parks, such as signage about the trees, native plants, wildlife, environmental preservation. This, I strongly believe, will help residents, especially children and youth, develop a deeper appreciation for our natural surroundings. For example, when as a family we go to the Evans Creek Preserve, there are so many different ecosystems, but we don't really know more information about it. Finally, during the busy months, I feel the parking management and the safeties can be challenging. Improving traffic flow and parking availability would make our parks more accessible and enjoyable during the peak times, and increase the safety of the people who are going on the trails. If they have to have an SOS call or some signals, that would be also very great. My vision for effective policy begins with a commitment to long-term sustainability, community accessibility, and thoughtful stewardship of Sammamish natural environment. Sammamish stands out to me for its unique and beautiful combination of greenery, parks, and diverse ecosystem. Preserving these natural assets for future generation will always be my highest priority. In addition, I believe technology can play a powerful role in improving how we manage and communicate about our parks, adopting data-driven performance metrics and technology-based solutions such as digital reservation system, real parking information, weather or closure alerts, and transparent updates would be fantastic. I'm confident if given an opportunity to serve on Parks and Recreation Commission, I will bring the same dedication, leadership, and collaborative spirit to support the initiatives to strengthen our community. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. At this point, we have reached all the applicants for the Parks and Recreation Commission. The council will now begin voting on positions 4 and 5. Okay, congratulations, Anna Yorba and Hank Klein. To make it simple, we'll keep you in the positions you're in, position 4 and 5. Thank you. Up next, we'll begin our interviews for the Arts Commission. Up first will be Feng Yu Yang, and which council member left off with the questioning? I think it's Councilmember Stewart will ask the first question. And then we have Jonathan Gerace after that.
Welcome. What topics would you like to see the Arts Commission work on during your tenure if you're appointed? And please share a little bit about you as well. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And my name is Feng Yue or Veronica. I'm a Sammamish resident for 15 years. And I have worked in international business in chemical industry for over 20 years. And I'm very passionate about community service. I have volunteered extensively in schools and community and the neighbors. And also recently I volunteered as my science class, the room parent and lead art docent. So I think that's the idea that I apply for the art commission is come from there because I saw so much talent from the young children, young kids, and I really want to like working more with the city and the other people on the commission to maybe we can have a better outreach, especially in arts, because I am also a lifelong art lover. So if appointed for the questions, if appointed, I would love to see the commission focus on strengthening the connection between local artists, community institutions, and the broader public. I want to explain from two sides, from the creator side and the audience side. From the artist and the creator side, I'm particularly interested in expanding opportunities for collaboration with schools, youth program, and local cultural organizations. Our city has lots of artists with different backgrounds and traditions. And I'd like to help create more accessible pathways for them, especially the students and the emerging artists, to share their work in like the visible public spaces, such as our beautiful city hall, or like my idea is if we can have host some local events like at the summers the farmers market, we even can have a little corner to like have these young kids to show their work out there, and maybe we can bring more people to participate in these local events. And I'm thinking specifically about my recent volunteer experience as the lead art docent, because I've seen so much talent in young students, and I'm constantly amazed by their creativity. One outreach idea I'd love to explore is highlighting student artwork in local spaces or local events. And like people can, I'm thinking of like people can buy or even auction for their artworks, and the proceeds from the sale or auction can then return to the artists or the young kids schools to even more promote their art program. So maybe that will be encourage more kids or young students to like create more and engage in more of our local events. And from the audience side, I think there is a big opportunity to increase awareness and engagement. I think many residents in our city may not realize that arts programming and exhibitions are already happening in our city. I would love to see the commission work on better outreach through partnerships with schools, community groups, and local media, so more people know when exhibitions are on display and feel invited to participate. I would be especially interested in supporting or leading outreach efforts if there is an area where the commission sees a need. A lot of my volunteer and professional experience has been about connecting people and bringing different groups into conversation. So I really enjoy that the bridge building work, and I think outreach is key to making sure the arts are accessible and inclusive for the whole community. Actually, I also volunteer as a mentor for Issaquah School District, the Voice program last year. And I have this young little mentee. He's a little boy at the second grade. and he has some issues when he's in the classroom, but he's really love drawing. When I spend 1 hour every week with him, and he drew lots of things, but the only character is from the Minecraft, like a little figure. But it's so much talent, and I love and I enjoy seeing him to like focus on these things.
Thank
It
you.
reminds me about the Dave Pilkey.
Thank you very much. Your
His,
your time is up here, but thank you so much.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Next up, we have Jonathan Gerace, followed by Heather Pfister. Thank you for being here. What topics would you like to see the Arts Commission work on during your tenure if you are appointed?
Thank you. Good evening, council members. I will be brief as I appreciate the chance to speak with you this evening regarding my application to the Arts Commission. My name is John Gerace, and my family and I have lived in Sammamish near Beaver Lake since 1986. I have provided additional background information on my personal relationship with art, my applicant resume, and also with my cover letter provided to the council. Those also speak about my history of project management, teamwork, personal diversity experiences, and my own administrative abilities. Tonight, I will focus on my desire and personal reasons for wanting to join the Arts Commission. So as you know, applicants for the Arts Commission were asked the question, what topics would you like to see the Arts Commission work on during our tenure if appointed? Myself, personally, it's all about accessibility. For me, it's engagement. It's all about engagement. I would encourage our Arts Commission to continually seek to boost community connections, supporting emerging artists, and make the arts more accessible for all residents. I support promoting vital cultural programs we have and potential partnerships with schools, local artists, and nonprofits to enrich the Sammamish art scene. As art lives not just in the physical forms around our city, but also in how accessible art is to the community. Much to its credit, the Arts Commission has instituted quality outreach programs designed to engage the community. I would support the Commission's continuation of those programs and seek to enhance them wherever possible, despite a potential budget constraint. But within this desire to serve, I have a personal initiative to submit to the scope of future projects. I have been personally advocating for what I call the Sammamish Memorial Monument Project, which started in May of 2023, and I began discussing the potential for creating a tangible monument in Sammamish dedicated to honoring past civil servants, service members, and first responders who gave their lives while serving our community, our country, and in the pursuit of a greater peace. I have previously spoken with some council members and briefly with our city manager about this concept of creating a monument, and I also received great guidance from some outgoing arts commissioners. I value their opinion and their mentorship. This discussion has remained paused as we awaited for the city's new arts strategic plan, which has now been released and adopted. If selected for the Arts Commission, I intend to keep making progress on this remembrance monument a reality when it is appropriate to continue that discussion. In closing, I appreciate the council allowing me to present my thoughts tonight and submit my application to the Arts Commission for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Heather Pfister, followed by Sandhu Kadi.
Hello, Heather.
Hello.
What topics would you like to see the Arts Commission work on during your tenure if appointed? And just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Thank you. Hello and good evening. Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Heather Pfister, and my family and I recently moved to Sammamish. And like many of you, hopefully all of you, we fell in love with this community. I'm here tonight because I want to offer my personal, academic, and professional experience to help our city reach its full cultural potential. For the last 20 years, I've worked in a specialized niche where arts meets infrastructure. I started in New York working in architecture, where I had the chance to sit on a federal GSA% for Art Commission.
Working directly with an artist from concept to completion inspired me to get my master's degree at NYU in arts management, where I focused on public art and cultural policy. During graduate school, I also spent several months working with the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, where I sat on Percent for Art commissions, managed their open artist registry, and performed maintenance surveys for over 50 public art projects. I reviewed everything from simple cleaning plans to full restoration plans. In Brooklyn, I co-founded a community public art group. We commissioned local artists who created light sculptures in parks, murals to enhance our streetscapes, and community sewing project culminating in draping a massive quilt over a house. On a side note, trying to explain a giant house quilt to a fire marshal to get a permit for that project was a very fun experience. But seeing the neighborhood come together at those events taught me that art isn't just decoration, it's an engine for our community. Today, I work for a media and technology company where I'm the primary liaison for large-scale public-private partnerships for transit authorities. My portfolio includes LA Metro in Los Angeles and more recently Sound Transit in KCM. I live in the world of municipal contracts, and I am a certified project manager. In short, I consider myself equal parts creativity and compliance. I know how to sit at a table with an artist who has a big vision, with a developer who is working on a pro forma, and a city official who needs to ensure that a project is not only financially sustainable and responsible, but safe and provides for the community. I've spent 2 decades helping those 3 groups find a common language to get things built. If appointed, I want to help take our 10-year art strategic plan and turn it into reality. Based on my background and interest, I see several key opportunities where I could be of assistance. First would be sustainable funding. We have a unique window right now with the development happening in Sammamish. If possible, I'd like to explore a Percent for Art framework that shows developers how integrated art can actually add value to their projects, as well as our civic identity. I can also help on working with funding plans, varied resources for funding, and grant writing. The second would be functional art. I was very excited to read about this idea in the strategic plan because I personally love working on these types of projects. Beautiful artist designed benches, fences, trail markers, wayfinding. We could possibly explore adopt a bench or adopt a sign program to give local businesses, community groups, and residents a way to directly sponsor our public art spaces and integrate themselves within our community. The third is community pop-ups and events. As a resident with a young family, I share the community's desire for more events, especially in the wintertime. While it looks like there may be some hurdles to overcome here as property gets developed, some of the city-owned property could be useful for pop-ups, small concerts, sewing groups, even an art-focused book club. Sometimes events don't always have to be big and fancy to make an impact. And often access to space and access to smaller gatherings is exactly what a neighborhood needs. Finally, my current philosophy is progress over perfection. It's what I tell my daughter every day when she goes to practice the piano because she's so excited. She wants to sit down and do everything and play everything right away. And we have to kind of take it down and start from the beginning and do step by step. Often companies, nonprofits, municipalities, parents, we try to do everything all at once, and we end up burning out or hitting scope creep, trying to do too much too quickly. I loved reading through the strategic plan because I thought it was very well written. And if we use that as our guide, I want to help the commission secure high quality wins that build momentum step by step for year after year for long-term progress. In closing, I'm deeply invested in this city. As a relatively new resident, I know I still have a lot to learn about the specific history and diverse needs of our neighbors. If elected, I would spend my first months on the commission listening and learning from my neighbors and community. My goal is to combine that local insight with my professional experience to help our arts ecosystem continue to be sustainable and inclusive. I want my kids to grow up in a city that is vibrant, diverse, and where arts and nature are celebrated at every corner. I'd be honored to use my background to help make that possible. Thank you for listening tonight.
Thank you. Up next, we have Sindhu Cuddy.
Good evening, Cynthia. A question we'd like to ask you is, what topics would you like to see the Arts Commission work on during your tenure if you're appointed?
Thank you. So hi, everyone. I'm Sindhu Kuddy. So as a Sammamish resident and a 20-plus year management consultant, 7 of those last years being also as a small business owner, I'm very motivated to find a way to contribute to the local community. My professional background, as well as I've spent the last 5 years serving on a nonprofit board for arts education, so where they go to children's hospital rooms and help create art, and that has really opened my eyes to appreciate art and what it can do to strengthen civic identity, foster connectivity, as well as improve quality of life. So in terms of answering your question directly, before I do that, I will just say a little bit about what I've been learning about what the Arts Commission has done. I've been very impressed by the impact they've done to date. So they have a wide range of arts projects that bring creativity to accessible civic spaces, which has been great to see. So the the totem poles at Beaver Lake, or some of the example next door with the Four Seasons mural, are all great examples where the Arts Commission has played a part there, as well as the grant program that they have, exhibitions, as well as the participatory experiences that they've sort of participated in, like the ferry house trail nearby. So I've really enjoyed that. And so they have a great foundation. So to build on that and recognizing that there are bounds with the annual budget and such, I would like to contribute in the following areas. So the first one is public art prioritization. So I would love to support developing some clear and transparent criteria so that the commission can make recommendations where there's limited funding and make the greatest impact so that it's very transparent and clear for everybody. Secondly, in terms of offering scalable, cost-effective initiatives, so I'd love to have the opportunity to help the commission assess and recommend initiatives that have high visibility but are also budget conscious. And so for example, things like temporary or short-term exhibitions, so that's practical and also it can be within budget. The third is to support the local artists. So I'm very interested in contributing to the existing art grant and help them with equitable access to lower barriers to participation for artists while maintaining our responsibility for public funds. And so this is through things like pilot commissions or clearly scoped grants so that it's very easy, provides better accessibility. Fourth is to have partnerships to extend city resources. So using the city funding to act as a catalyst to extend versus being the sole support for some of the arts projects out there. Lastly, it's to measure success and accountability. So to support having some simple and meaningful measures so that the impact of the Arts Commission is clear to not just the decision makers on the city council, but also to our community and our community residents. So I'd just like to conclude by saying I really value collaboration and respectful dialogue. And so I would respect the perspectives of my fellow commission members, as well as staff and county members and the community members as well. I'd be honored to serve on the commission and would provide thoughtful, fiscally responsible, and community-centric recommendations. Thank you. Tried to keep it a little short as the last one. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much. At this point, the council will vote on 2 positions on the ballot in front of them. All right, congratulations, John Traith and Heather Pfister. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for the time you took to apply to these commissions and speak with us tonight.
Mayor Amato, can you indicate their position?
Thank you very much. We will put John Gerace in position 3 and Heather Pfister in position 4. Okay, up next we have our police presentation from our Chief Steve Lysett.
I just want to say, as we're transitioning here, how difficult a decision these commissions is. We had absolutely amazing applicants, every one of you. And so I hope you'll stay involved with the city. There's lots of ways to be involved besides being on a commission, and I hope I see your faces in here again.
And Councilmember Stewart wanted me to remind you, and this is very good, please reapply. If you applied tonight and were not selected, we would love to have selected many of you, but there's only so many positions. So please, when you see these noticed again, please reapply for us. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Steve Lysett, and it has been my privilege to serve as your police chief for the last 3.5 years. And I know you've had a very long day, so I'm going to move through some of this so I can get to any questions you might have. Start with the requisite yearbook photo. You have about 70% of your police force represented there, the other 30% being on mandatory training or pre-approved vacations. But it's a tremendous team that you have serving here in the city. I'm very proud to work with all of them. Some safety rankings, and I'd like to start with what we're most proud of. Sammamish is currently ranked the #1 safest city in Washington and #8 in the nation, according to U.S. News and World Report, based upon FBI violent crime statistics. That doesn't happen by accident. It reflects strong community partnerships, proactive policing, and continued support from the council, and we thank you. I will have a specific breakdown for you of those stats when WASPIC releases them. And I'll preface this by saying I'm going to throw a lot of acronyms at you, and I will do my very best to explain what those are. But if I don't, please feel free to throw a hand up. WASPIC is the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs, and I'll have their data in May, and we'll present then. So a brief overview of the Sammamish Police Department. We contract for police services with the King County Sheriff's Office, and all Sammamish police officers are commissioned King County Sheriff's deputies. This model allows us to provide local, community-focused policing while also giving us some access to county-wide resources, and I will come back to that in a moment. We work closely with the Woodinville Police Department and unincorporated King County Sheriff's deputies under the umbrella of what we call Precinct 2, which strengthens coverage and information sharing across those city lines. This is how we're structured. Sammamish Patrol has 3 shifts: day shift, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., swing shift, 2 p.m. to midnight, and graveyard, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. And these deputies work 10-hour shifts, 4 days a week with some shift overlap, which improves continuity and increased visibility. So there's kind of a breakdown of our staffing right there. And that's current as of today. Patrol deputies are responsible for responding to 911 and priority calls, conducting area checks, welfare checks, business checks, and park checks, traffic enforcement. I wonder if that's on the next slide. And community engagement, whether that's attending community events or addressing neighborhood concerns. Our criminal investigations unit. On the left, you have Detective Keith Gaffin. He's been with us since 2021. And Detective J.J. Hennessy, he started with us in December. I've been actively recruiting him for several years. I'm so pleased he's with us now. They are a great team, and they're already trying to rebrand themselves as Sammami Vice. I think we'll stick with Criminal Investigations Unit, but very talented detectives that have received a lot of accolades for their work. JJ was a detective at Unincorporated for 3 or 4 years before I was able to snag him for us. Our detectives also work 10-hour shifts, 4 days a week. The work often happens behind the scenes, but it's critical to public safety. They follow up on investigations for criminal cases. They review all patrol incident reports. They forward felony cases to the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. They apply for and serve search warrants on homes, vehicles, persons, and businesses. And they share intelligence with other regional law enforcement agencies. Our traffic unit. We have the most robust traffic unit in the entire King County Sheriff's Office, and they do a tremendous job for us. They also call themselves the Motors Unit, so if you hear me say that, that's what I'm referring to. We have 2 dedicated officers, MPO Chris Sawtell, that's a Master Patrol Officer. He was also our 2025 Deputy of the Year. And Tyler Jardin, he came to us last year. Some of you met Sergeant Derek Jones at the last council presentation. He was my acting chief while I was at training, and he gave that council presentation. He serves dual roles. He also is on the Motors Unit, so he rides a bike. He supervises the traffic unit. He also serves as one of our first shift patrol sergeants, so he exists in both worlds. They also work 10-hour shifts with coverage blended throughout the week and play a major role in traffic safety and visibility throughout the city. The responsibilities include traffic enforcement citywide to include school zones, responding to traffic and parking complaints with greater frequency from My Sammamish. They're getting tons of work through the My Sammamish app, which if you haven't messed around in the app yet, it's a great accountability tool, and it provides almost real-time feedback to the person lodging the complaint. So it's been a great device for us. They do collision investigations. They also support patrol operations, so they also will respond to 911 calls if the need arises. And they are conducting daily car seat safety inspections here at City Hall. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the contracting model with KCSO. These are some of the specialty units, but what I would highlight is one of the biggest advantages of contracting with King County Sheriff's Office is immediate access to highly specialized units that would be impossible for a city our size to staff independently. So some of those units include our major crimes unit, largely homicide, special assault unit, the MAR unit, major accident response and reconstruction. That's going to be collisions that result in serious bodily injury or death. The advanced training unit, which is responsible for initial training for newly hired officers, but also training throughout our careers. We have a civil and warrants unit. We have a marine rescue dive unit, which also operates here in Lake Sammamish. We received a new boat last year, which if you haven't been out on it yet, when the weather improves, I'd love to take you out on the boat. But that we actually have 2 officers here in Sammamish working patrol that are marine rescue divers. So should the need arise, we can deploy immediately on the water. And every King County deputy serving in precinct or in the shoreline Sammamish precinct has received comprehensive training on basic boat operations. So we can go out there and help the marine unit should that need arise. So we received that training back in June and July, hugely advantageous for us here in the city. Another benefit is unmanned aerial systems, also known as drones, which have multiple reasons that we'll use those. We have TAC 30, our SWAT team, which handles armed barricaded suspects and high-risk service of search warrants. We have a bomb disposal unit and a crisis negotiation team. A brief update on our community engagement officer position. This is a role that we started, I think, 2.5 years ago. And many of you knew Nate Griert. He moved on as a counterterrorism detective with Sound Transit. It was almost a seamless transition to move Matt Martin from the Lake Washington School District SRO position into the community engagement officer role. The 2 of them had been supporting each other for years in that capacity. Matt already knows the job. He has some certifications that we want to make sure he has that Nate had. But he's already a Stop the Bleed and CRACE instructor. CRACE is civilian response to active shooter events. He is one of the King County Sheriff's Office hostage and crisis negotiators. He's one of our marine rescue divers. In that he's already served in the role as an SRO, he will be supporting our new SRO, which I'll introduce here in a moment. And he will be cross-trained as a full detective to support our criminal investigations unit. There will be times when we have investigations that require more than Keith and JJ. And we're going to be putting Matt through all of those things. So in the event that it's required, he can switch roles immediately and serve as a detective in a full detective capacity. He registered today to be CEPT head certified, which is crime prevention through environmental design. The first one is residential, but my aim is to have him certified in advanced ones, which includes commercial businesses, houses of worship, and schools. So we're starting with residential because we see more application of that on a day-to-day basis. So we're going to welcome Kedrick Anderson. This is another individual that I have been trying to get to join our team for a number of years. I think you can tell from his face there just what an enthusiastic, and he's just a great dude. He started back in mid-October with Lake Washington School District, but he's been a peace officer since 2012. He's a lateral from Louisiana. He's been with us since 2020 in the King County Sheriff's Office. When he joined us in 2020, he had to get off probation, but he immediately went into the special assault unit of the Sheriff's Office. And in doing that, this is actually a prior slide version, but in his capacity in Louisiana, he was a counterterrorism detective. He was on their SWAT team. He was a patrol sergeant. But in his capacity as a special assault investigator for the King County Sheriff's Office, he now comes to us certified in child interview. That is, I've been through it. That's a difficult course to get through and to become proficient in. And he's already certified in VCERT. I've also been through that. I'll spare you the acronym, but what that means is he is trained to meet victims where they are. It's a victim-centered, trauma-informed investigations. This is exactly the individual that we want in our schools, talking to our kids, and he comes loaded with all of this training already. Huge score for our team in getting him. I'd like to share with you a training update. This has been a passion project of mine for about 3 years. Due to financial constraints not here in the city, logistically, it's very hard to pull off this kind of training. We're currently calling it Responding to In-Progress Violence. You may have heard of it referred to before as ASAP, Active Shooter and Patrol. It's one and the same. This is live action dynamic scenarios that we were only able to achieve through partnership here in the city and with the JTAT unit that Nate now works at, Sound Transit and Metro. I called in a favor. I used to work with those guys when I was at Metro. They were willing to, at no cost, other than pizza, switch their day completely and come out and provide us this training that is absolutely critical for us to have. This is best practice for law enforcement, and it is due to financial constraints throughout the county. I think the last time I had it was 2014. This is going on nowhere else in the county. So we are kind of the beta project for it. Sound Transit is interested in spooling this training up again countywide. But I'm pleased to say we put through our entire first shift with the aim of putting through second and graveyard soon enough. Got some kinks to work out, but it was incredibly successful. To give you kind of a brief overview, they're going to have a brief classroom kind of refresher about some of these best practices, and they go right into these live action dynamic scenarios, which include real application of stop the bleed training, medical intervention, the incident command system, and dynamic team movement. I can tell you because it was 2014 since I did it, but even though you know these are drills, it is an adrenaline dump because you handle these as though it's real world. And we're using radios, you're driving toward a stimulus, in this case, simulated gunfire, you're rescuing people, you're applying a medical intervention, and we had role players, police explorers involved in this, and the counterterrorism team were our instructors. So it was hugely advantageous. I've been wanting to do this for so many years, and we finally found a way to do it at really no cost to the city of Sammamish other than Pagliacci's. So my hope is to do this again and again. And we introduced our new canine back in October. So he's been deployed on the street now for a couple months. Deputy Lee Wunderlich and Falco. Falco's a German Shepherd, 24 months old, from the Slavic Republic. Just a huge asset to Precinct 2. There's never been, and I've been on this department 25 years, I don't think there's ever been a dedicated canine north of I-90 in recorded history with the Sheriff's Office. This is such a needed tool for so many reasons, but we're so glad to have him, and that he's actually, in addition to being a canine, I just like to show that he's actually just also a patrol officer. He's out there responding to 911 calls. He's a force multiplier for us for de-escalation and for tracking down suspects should that need arise. But it also protects our officers. A canine creates time and distance and shielding between us and the threat. So it protects our officers. I can't tell you in my career how many times I've heard people give themselves up because they just heard the dog bark and they walk out and they want none of that. The last thing I will say about the canine, It is the one use of force that we have in our toolbox that once we send it, we can call it back. That's so important. And that's now something that we have here in Sammamish and serving precinct 2. So we're very, very pleased to have both of them. And with that, I'll take any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you very much, Council. I'll just entertain questions as they arise. So, Councilmember Stewart.
Yeah, I'm wondering, this isn't really a question to you, Chief, but I'm wondering if we can make sure that we do more to advertise the car seat inspections, just because, well, I guess it's been about 24 years now, but 24 years ago, my mom was involved in a really bad accident with my son in the car. And the car seat being installed properly was all that saved him because the car rolled. So it's easy. I think with some of the newer cars, it's easier, but it's easy to think the car seat is installed properly and it's not always. So I just think it's one of those things. It only takes a few minutes, but it's so important. So I'd love to see us be able to, partner on that and maybe get that information out there more. I want to say I totally support the Sammy Vice, and maybe we can get some of our new arts commissioners to work on a logo. I don't know, I'm just saying. But I do want to say that I appreciate the partnerships that and the relationships you've built with our schools, even where we don't have an SRO, like at Issaquah. I know that you guys are great at that community building, and I know how important that is. So I appreciate all of that you guys do through the community. Although I am concerned, I think it was slide 3, at the maybe just too young new officer that was in that photo. I mean, maybe we need to have an age limit there. But in all seriousness, I think you guys, I really appreciate the community building that you do and the community policing that you do. And I think that's how you are able to, get us and keep us at that #1 slot. So appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you. Any other questions from council members? Councilmember Lamb?
Yeah, I just had a quick question about e-bikes, and I know you guys talked about it the last time you came, and I was just wondering if there's an update or if you're making any like headway into any of the issues that you had last time that you talked about.
I wish I had better news on that front. I will say that I myself had a meeting with the Klahani Homeowners Association about 2 weeks ago on this very topic, and was able to connect them with the resources that we have on our webpage and to the video of Nate giving his presentation, to any other literature we have available, because that has been their primary concern. And I think seasonally we're going to start to see it again when the weather improves. As far as reaching out to schools, we did so, all of them. We heard back from 2, and only 1 seemed interested in engaging further, and even that lacked follow through from them. We're going to try again. Under our new community engagement officer, Matt Martin, we're going to try and kind of reimagine what that role looks like to play to his strengths. We definitely geared the prior one toward Nate's strengths. Well, Matt comes with some different skill sets. The mission of that position remains the same, building and lasting relationships with our houses of worship and faith leaders, schools, and the commercial corridor. But e-bikes and all the things that come with that will be a focus, and I think it's incumbent upon us to try yet again to the schools and see if they'll kind of meet us in the middle on this.
Yeah, thank you for that. And you're right, like the warm season's coming our way and they're going to be back out, and it'd be really great to reach out to the schools again. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, well, thank you very much, Chief, for coming tonight and giving us a presentation. I know you're here late, and so we really appreciate you doing that for us. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Council. Appreciate your time.
Okay, up next, we will have public comment. We will be taking, did we have anyone signed in for public comment? Okay, public comment will be 3 minutes, and right around the 3-minute mark, I'm starting to give you eyes, and then I'll start to interrupt you there. Okay. Hello. Hi. Up first, we have Wendy Weicker.
I'm the only one tonight, 2.5 hours to get 3 minutes. Picked the wrong meeting, but it's the one I wanted. So Wendy Weicker, Republic Services, we're your service provider for the collection services we do in Sammamish. We've been doing it for years. I just wanted to be here tonight to say welcome to the new council members, mayor, deputy mayor. Many of you have heard me before. We've been before you many times talking about sustainability, talking about our partnership, talking about state law, talking about King County disposal systems. There's so much going on in the solid waste system right now. And I can't thank Councilmember Lamb for being involved with the King County Sound Cities Association assignment to the SWAC. There's other leadership that's happening through Sound Cities Association, Association of Washington Cities. We as a service provider are right there working with cities and counties to try to find the most cost-effective policies and programs and practices forward to meet sustainability goals, to be cost effective for your residents, to do what makes sense in our organics management collection and our recycling reforms that are happening everywhere within our cities and within our counties and within our state. So I'm here tonight to say thank you for your service. We're here as a resource. We appreciate working with your staff. You have exceptional staff. Jen Ribinelli is your solid waste contract administrator. I think we're talking every other week or day about something that's coming down on the city or something we want to tell her, and recycling tips and reporting that needs to be done, and follow up on customer inquiries about, you know, what size bin should I get? How can I save money? What low income rates do you have? Blah, 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 blah. And we are happy to do that work, and we are proud to serve the city. So as you move forward, please consider us a resource. Please consider us a grateful, thankful, proud partner to be with Sammamish in meeting all your sustainability and public health and safety goals. So happy to meet you one-on-one, happy to get to our recycling center, happy to get you to Cedar Grove to see organics, happy to do an inventory of your kitchen to see if you guys are actually recycling and collecting food scraps correctly. Whatever you need, we are here to serve. So with that, thank you for being here tonight. Please call me if you have any questions, and I'm going to go home, and I hope you guys do too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the room who'd like to give public comment? Okay, do we have anyone online?
We do. Those who have pre-registered to provide online comment, please raise your hand if you'd like to give a comment at this time. Promoting our first public commenter online. Heather, when you're ready.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Council. Let's talk government transparency, city governance roles, and fiscal accountability. Under Sammamish's council manager government, the city manager is an administrative professional hired to implement policy set by this council, not to independently set direction, initiate policy shifts, or override community-driven outcomes without clear council authorization. The city manager manages staff and executes contracts as authorized, whereas the city council makes decisions, votes, and sets policy. That's why many residents were alarmed to see a Seattle Times public notice this week requesting bids to renovate the Reared House, a city-owned historic property, without mention of it in council meetings. Local reporting detailed Reared House is nearly complete, restored by the Sammamish Heritage Society using free volunteer labor, nonprofit expertise, and grants already secured. According to Sammamish Local News, after decades of volunteer restoration work with over 700,000 raised, the city terminated its relationship with SHS this summer in what was described as a cost-saving measure, weeks before a final grant they had received would have completed Sammamish's first living museum. The same reporting stated the city budgeted a tiny $5,000 a year to support SHS, which was staffed entirely by volunteers. Yet now we're soliciting open bids from commercial contractors. So I have to ask, do we really believe soliciting public bids will come in less than $5,000? And how is this possibly a cost-saving measure? My additional questions are essential for the transparency residents yearn for. Who authorized the request for bids? Who authorized terminating the relationship with the Sammamish Heritage Society? Did the prior council vote to abandon a successful grant-funded, volunteer-led restoration effort? And does the current council support that decision and policy? Or was this decision made administratively without public discussion or council direction? This matters. Residents are already paying increased regressive utility taxes, facing economic uncertainty with tech layoffs, and being warned of future bonds needed due to a looming fiscal crisis. So why would the city solicit paid commercial bids for work which passionate residents were completing for free with grants already in hand? Our city manager is among the highest compensated in comparable Eastside cities. With that compensation comes expectation of restraint, transparency, and respect for council authority and community trust. Given this and the city's ongoing wrongful termination lawsuit involving the former city council clerk, I ask for transparency on who authorized the Reared House bid process and a performance assessment of the city manager given this Reared House action and the wrongful termination lawsuit. Our city website states the city council selects a city manager to implement their policies. It's simple. A city manager implements policy, they do not make it. Finally, when decisions are made, full transparency to residents and public meetings needs to be a priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else online?
There was one more pre-registered public commenter, and looks like they are ready.
Good evening, Council. This is Mary Wichter. I'll keep it short, but I just wanted to really thank everybody who put themselves up for positions on any of our commissions. The work that is done is so important, and just the quality and the number of people that we're getting trying out is awesome. I just wanted to say for anybody that wasn't selected for the seat today, try again and again, or even you can just attend the actual meetings and give public comment at like the Arts Commission or the Planning Commission or any of the other commissions. So I think there's so much that people have had to say. They have ideas that they'd like to share. And just if you go and you give time for that, you'll find out you can get some ideas through. I've been speaking for over 10 years at city meetings on stormwater and other, and it's really hard to just talk and try to get stuff done. But if you can't make it on one of the commissions, try the public comment route. It really can. You can hook people in with an idea, and sometimes you can really get things done. And I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you.
That's all for online public comment.
Okay. With that, we'll move on to council reports. Do we have any council members that like to make any reports? Council member Stewart.
Yeah, we had our EFR meeting last week where we did begin the discussion of our priorities and work plan. Again, if anybody has any questions or anything that you would like to see on that, please let me know. The goal will be to finalize that in February. There was also the Eastside Transportation Partnership meeting on Friday, which I attended. We did finalize and send off a letter to our federal delegation, re-emphasizing the priorities and the need for continued federal funding for projects here on the east side. And we elected a new chair and vice chair of the committee and had some presentations on the work that will be happening on I-5. So staff should be looking out for that, because I think we should also make sure we are communicating that because some of the I-5 projects will be a little disruptive. But also that the Link Light Rail is running test runs now pretty regularly across the bridge and is on track to open before the World Cup. So I think those were the high points. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Lamb.
Yeah, I have a solid waste advisory committee meeting on Wednesday, and the two main topics, and I sent out the agenda. The first one is we'll be discussing the Recycling Reform Act, and the other one is we've passed an organics management law in the state of Washington, and we'll be discussing multifamily organics management and how to increase multifamily organics collections.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Farrell.
Thank you, Mayor. On Thursday, I will be attending the RIA 8 upcoming meeting. Two items on the agenda that I think would be of interest is that we're going to get an update on the primary results of the 2025 salmon recovery for RIA 8 populations, including Chinook, Sockeye, and the Lake Sammamish kokanee. And then one other item will be getting some feedback on our updating on is hearing the impact of the recent historic flooding on our major rivers and stream basins, and including some habitat restoration projects that have been carried out. So I think we'll get some interesting information I'll be happy to pass on to council.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of quick items. As a reminder, City Hall will be closed in recognition of Dr. Martin Luther King Day on Monday, January 19th. And on that note, as a reminder, and you heard previously, the city's hosting a day of service at Pine Lake Park. You can go online to the city's website to register for either a 2-hour slot or all 4 hours from 11 to 3, should you so choose. And fortunately, this year the weather looks fairly decent for that event, so that's a positive. And because it's one of our most popular events, I want to give advance notice to remind the community to save the date for our annual Lunar New Year celebration, which will take place on Saturday, January 31st from 1 to 4 at Building 120. So I'll remind again next week's meeting, but I want to give advance notice so people can get that on their calendars. Thank you, Mayor. Back to you.
Okay, thank you. We have no other business, so I will, is there a motion to adjourn? No, we don't? Great. Then we're adjourned.